What the hell explains this Republican race?
You know, it's funny, I was having this conversation with some folks yesterday, some of the Yahoo folks at dinner, and I said, you know, they were, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And of course, I've written, you know, I've said many times now that I think this race will shake itself out into a very different race than it's been for a variety of reasons. But I said, you know, we don't know. You know, we live in a time where everything is changing. Nobody heard of Uber 3 years ago. And, you know, like, we don't know when we're at the moment when suddenly the voters really do want someone who doesn't know anything about politics. And they really aren't going to go back to electability at the end. And they really are going to pick Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. And, you know, we're gonna have that moment. You know, in 2008, for a variety of reasons that I think are arguably unrelated to what we're looking at now, but in 2008, the Democratic establishment, overwhelming favorite, lost the nomination for the first time since the modern campaign system was enacted in the late 1960s, right? And people have been trying, people have been banging their head against that door for 40 years. And Barack Obama got through it. And a lot of people who covered politics for a long time thought that to be impossible. They also thought it to be impossible that an African American could win the nomination of the presidency. And you know, and nothing's possible until it's possible. And so do I dismiss the idea that Donald Trump or Ben Carson could be the nominee, who today, I understand, has made clear that he thinks that the ancient pyramids were used to house grain?
Yes, I was going to talk about that.
That's possible, sure. No, I don't just, like, I'm not somebody, I don't get invested in being right, and I think we spend an way too much time as journalists trying to predict, and then when you predict, you get invested in predicting. That's the nature of predictions, is when you predict, you get invested in them, and that can affect your coverage, and it can affect how long it takes you to get your head around what's really happening. So I don't know, but no, I think this race has seen an unusual period where you know, you really had a not terribly engaged electorate and a subset of that electorate that is driven to celebrity, that has watched this guy on TV, that's angry, and all of those things coming together to form a base of support for Trump. So as I've said many times, I don't think Trump has, you know, if we're just talking about Trump for a minute, I don't think Trump has been winning this race ever. I think everybody else has been losing. He's never gone over 30% in it for any consistency. He's nowhere near, I mean, no one's ever been nominated with 30% of the vote. He can't build on it. His numbers were lower than Herman Cain's were 4 years ago. The only difference is Herman Cain had Mitt Romney 5 points behind him, and we've had now this bizarrely extended period where everybody else is bunched up in single digits. And so we can misread that, but all that means is Trump has a base of support outside the traditional political system, which is his base of support from TV and a base of support on immigration, and all of that is giving him this rather inelastic 25+% of the vote. But it's still a very small percentage of the electorate. It's a small percentage of the Democratic Party, and it's not grown. And I see no evidence that it can grow. So do I think he's the nominee? No. And do I think Carson's the nominee? No. I think people are going to focus in, and I think there are several pretty good candidates in the Republican field who will emerge over the next 8 or 10 weeks as being serious alternatives. I mean, you know, I was saying to my wife yesterday, you know, because there's all this. My poor wife has to hear. She works at CBS News, and she has to hear all my rantings about the foolishness of you know, the media crowd. You know, as if she's like the personification of everything in network news. But I was saying, you know, this narrative you hear now in Washington. Well, Marco Rubio's the guy. Rubio's the guy. He had a good debate. He ticked up in polls. Rubio's the guy. Well, you know, so I sat down with the RCP, the Real Clear Politics sort of compendium of polls, which I love, sitting in the airport in Manchester 2 days ago because I had some time to kill, and I thought, well, let me see what's really going on here. There's absolutely no statistical basis for that narrative. None. You know what, Marco Rubio? New Hampshire's going to decide who competes long-term for the Republican nominee, because Iowa's going to be around. Iowa's already made itself